Greetings and welcome back to yet another episode of the Daily Run, and today we're playing as Azazel. So not only was this daily very much similar to the one yesterday, at least in terms of like the overall strategy and how we approach a daily, but it also had or shared some of the similar elements. So we got Ivy back at a certain point, we tried to actually have enough health to justify going to the sacrifice room if of course one did appear throughout the run, and I think overall it was just a very standard daily again. But it took a very sharp turn on one particular floor. And I always say, I play through a daily and maybe I make one little mistake, and that one little mistake ends up maybe escalating into me just losing the run or just end up ranking in a really, really worse spot. But what if I told you that there exists a run, and you're watching it right now, where not only do I commit one very big mistake, but three big mistakes, and still I somehow actually manage to get through it and go through with the plan that I intend to go through in the first place. And you might be saying, well, how is this possible? Why is the game more cruel to you sometimes? And I feel like sometimes, obviously due to variance and how RNG works, sometimes you're gonna make a mistake, but you're still gonna be rewarded. I wouldn't really call myself being rewarded because I'm definitely left in a worse spot than I was before because of those mistakes. But like I would say, the overall theme or my goal or challenge, I would say, wasn't removed because I committed those mistakes. So it definitely could have gone much worse than it did. And what I'm mainly referring to is one particular 1-pip dice room, and you can see that the run kinda is evolving here at this point, and I didn't take the devil deal because I didn't want to trade any of my red health away, and of course having a lot of red health is not only useful because now with the Ivy bag we can trade it for money, but also if it happens to be in the future, we can still afford to take some of those devil deals like the shovel, which are obviously very much needed, and still kinda remain in a very healthy spot. So if there is a sacrifice room, we can actually utilize the red health that are kinda lying throughout the floor to pick them up after of course we damage ourselves, and then of course go back and hopefully teleport to the dark room. So red health in general, even though it's very frowned upon because it doesn't really allow you to do much, I would say are helpful, especially more so in a run that goes to a mom's foot. So I feel like the run kind of guided us in this direction. We got the Ivy bag very early on, we got a ton of HP upgrades, and the run was basically saying, this is one of those standard dailies where you basically have the Ivy bag, you got old Vantage, so just try to play as much as possible because you have control over your health. That means you can still go to the boss trap rooms, and the run was basically looking really good, and at this point I couldn't complain too much. It seemed very strong, and I figured that there's really nothing that can go wrong, and especially because even if you take some damage, we can kind of mitigate that with the Ivy bag. Later on we're gonna get the Polaroid, hopefully maybe we find an Awas rune and go further, but you did notice there's a 1-pip dice room here, and this is where everything goes wrong. And not only do I yeah, you just saw it happen. And essentially what ended up happening, I was kind of strolling to the floor, doing my last lap, and I was thinking, well, this run is super strong, I hope nothing bad happens to it. I think I should go through the rest of the floor and try to pick up some consumables so I can actually get a little bit more points. And then, of course, I opened the minimap, and I saw that there were pennies in that one particular room, and I was like, oh wait, I shouldn't miss out on those, and then I just entered the room without considering what it might be, and I just walked straight into the center, and of course that ended up re-rolling my run. I lost the Ivy back, I lost the synergies, ended up actually in this, I would say, a pretty poor position, and that was mistake number 1. And of course the number 2 here is not really helping us out. It's definitely, I would say, a big thing that kind of caused us damage, and just I would say overall it wasn't very effective. It was actually pretty ineffective at doing something, but at least maybe 3 bombs, so that's maybe the silver lining here, and we have enough health to still justify to going to the sacrifice room so we can actually teleport to the dark room. And because we have 6 red health, not only can we trade some of it away if you do get some good items here, but also we will be healthy enough in the dark room if you actually want to go through with it. And because we're Azazel, we don't really need much damage upgrades. We have enough tiers, we have a high luck upgrade, and that should be enough, hopefully, right? Well, you might say, well, that's a good idea, and of course, after I bit the Mask of Infamy, a devil deal opened, and in there was Abaddon and also Dark Matter, and at first I was like, whoa, those are both really good items, I should pick them up. And first of all, I should have picked up Dark Matter in the first place. Not Dark Matter, Abaddon, because obviously when you pick up that item, it takes all of your red health away and gives you 6 black hearts, and that might not be that bad, if of course I also didn't pick up Dark Matter. But you might say, well, first of all, pick up Dark Matter, right? So then you get the damage upgrade, and then you pick up Abaddon, and then of course you're left with 12 spirit hearts or black hearts, and there are 2 more on the floor, and that is kinda, I would say, likely enough for you to play it so you can actually go to the dark room in the end. And you would be right, except what I did is, first of all, I picked up Abaddon first, so that's my second mistake, and then I noticed I was left with 12 Spirit Hearts, and obviously, because I only have Spirit Hearts, now every Devil Deal is also 3 Spirit Hearts, and now I shouldn't have picked up the Dark Matter, right? Because if I pick up Dark Matter, I'm gonna lose 3 more Spirit Hearts, and I don't have any way to replenish them. So I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, wait, actually, but this item is good because it gives you damage, so I take it, and then of course I'm left with only 9 Spirit Hearts, and suddenly I don't have enough health to actually go to the Sacrifice Room, and I'm kinda covering in here fear at this point. I'm just saying, oh man, what was I doing? Because not only did I commit like 3 very big mistakes, but this might not only cost me to actually get a lot of points by going to the Dark Room, but this can also, I would say, cost me just the overall ranking, and also my dignity and pride to some extent. So I was just kind of thinking what I should do, but I was like, okay, just regain your composure, go through the rest of the floor, and maybe take a little bit of a risk. And I did manage to get back to 12 hearts at the end, but I didn't have any more than that, and only having 12 is usually not going to be enough to actually justify playing the Dark Room, I mean the Sacrifice Room, in order to get to the Dark Room. But I was feeling frisky because I made so many mistakes. I was like, maybe this is going to be the ultimate redemption story, and luckily enough, one of those plays on the Sacrifice Room did give me 7 Spirit Hearts, and I was left in a really good position. After that, I went to the Dark Room, my damage was kind of through the roof because I picked up Abaddon, Dark Matter, and later on also got a Crown of Light. I got the clicker, so I was able to kind of get rid myself of quite a bit of damage penalty. Because of Ivy Back, I was able to get enough coins, and we also had Safety Scissors, and there was a room with 3 giant, what are they called? Not prides. Rats? I think they're called rats. The ones that spawn bombs, and because they spawned Super Troll bombs, we got 2 bombs every time they spawned one, and we were able to get like 70 bombs out of that, and also something like 2,000 points in the end. So with it kind of finished run in this point, it was very unfortunate, but also very fortunate in every single other regard. We ended up ranking 4th, I think, on the Gridbot leaderboards, which is obviously very good, and not something I really deserve at this point, but you know what, I'm gonna take it. I've had too many bad runs not to justify having one good one, and in the end I would just say it was an enjoyable run. Like, if everything just went well every single time, it wouldn't be as fun as if maybe sometimes things go a little bit wrong, and I feel it's more rewarding to actually try to climb back from those pits, and I feel it's much more satisfying to actually get a good score after I've committed so many mistakes, just because I feel like I know I've made and committed those mistakes, and I know that I should avoid them in the future, but for the time being, I'm stuck in this position. I'm just trying to make the best out of it. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed this one, guys, and I hope to see you next time.